Hello, welcome to the STEM Festival Mentorship Sessions. My name is Lucy Akosua-Fiadonu, and I am your moderator. STEM enthusiasts, today we have something special for you. Science fiction, fantasy, Egyptology, archaeology, maybe a bit of juju, if you will. But we've been brought to you by Primetime Limited with support of Pepsodent, Pay Money Transfer, GTP, YFM, and Bell Beverages. Let's hear quickly from them. We'll be right back.
Akoto! 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 I know you are there. Come on, Akoto! Akoto! Come see Capremi, oh! Come see Capremi.
Hello, Alpha.
Come on from
Yeah, the landlady is here today too. She's harassing me this morning. Yes, come and see how I'm sweating.
Well, if I catch you, eh?
Yes, the number I sent you the last time. Yes, use the Pay app. It will come right now.
Hey, bra! Ah, so when you come see mommy, give me my money. Me, Jim Sika.
We didn't know. When you Pay is here. Yes, Canada Bay. Pay is the best money transfer app that is used to send money directly from the US to Ghana free of charge. They have the best rates in the market and they are very competitive. And no thing is Kano Kana Abrosono.
Jim Sika.
Welcome back. Thank you. I did say juju, and I was not wrong. Maybe Mr. Osai will set the record straight. Today's guest, our mentor, is a prolific writer, science fiction, fantasy, and the long list. He's going to blow our minds with some of the books that he has written. He's a published writer, and he's a physicist. So it's going to be very, very intriguing, I must say. Mr. Jacob Amano Osai, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Lucy. I'm so excited to be here, and I look forward to today's mentorship session. It's a pleasure to be here.
But tell us a little bit about yourself. I want everyone to hear from you who Jacob is, because I've just learned a little bit, and I'm like, wow.
Okay, so my name is Jacob Osai. I'm a STEM author, educator, co-founder of Creative Brilliance Afroverse, and mostly. So what I do basically is I write stories based on science. I also educate people on science. FYI, I'm a physics teacher at Pesek Legon, so that's where my education actually happens. And globally, I'm known as a science fiction and fantasy author. And futuristically, we are building or creating what we call the Creative Brilliance Afroverse, which is something we are doing for the future generation. Yeah.
So, Creative Brilliance Afroverse. I know what creative means and what brilliance means, but why that art of Afroverse? What is this whole project about?
So Creative Brilliance Afroverse, we call it CBA at Presec. So it's a popular acronym, but then it's our vision for the African continent. You know, Africa has gone through a lot, but then the truth of the matter is that the future will be Africa. So Creative Brilliance Afroverse is our contribution to the glorious future that is actually beckoning on Africa. We want to create an ecosystem where Africans have total control when it comes to their narrative, their storytelling, their culture, their traditions, and the kind of life we live, the kind of environment we want to live in, built and created by Africans and not any external influences from other, individuals from other continents. So it's an African universe created,
by the
administrated, and executed by Africans.
And enjoyed.
Enjoyed
By the African,
Yeah.
yes.
That's
You don't
my
want to
purpose.
build something and not enjoy it. So
Most
happy
definitely.
to be a part of this conversation
Yeah.
where we're talking about owning our narrative. And you've done that. How long have you been writing?
Yes, so
Writing.
so I've been writing from 2012 actually. Started after high school from Accra Academy to be more precise.
That will be.
Yeah, and mostly I actually started writing poetry. That's how I began writing because I felt it was quite easy and you can finish it quickly and go and do other things in your life. So it was more of a hobby because I was a science student in Accra Academy. So you have to learn physics, chemistry, biology. You don't waste all your time writing poetry. So it was actually something I did as a hobby. So flash forward, finished Accra, did some few works during graduation, then entered into the University of Ghana, where I didn't get the course I wanted to do, which hurt me so bad till now. I wanted to do engineering because my dad is an engineer and I was born into an engineering family. So for me, I knew what I had to do. However, there was some few challenges with my admission because I ended up in medical school interview, and I went to cause scaffolds at the medical school interview. So they didn't transfer my files back to Legon campus because medical school is in Kolebu.
Yeah.
So I failed the interview. So it was like, that's the end for me. So my dad was not really excited. So he called someone at the university and, he said, oh, your son is good. His grades are great. So we can come to the academic affairs directorate at Great Hall and make a proposal. So when we talked to them, I showed them my results. Like, oh, your results is good. So what do you want? I want to do engineering. I wanted to do biomedical engineering. So I wrote a letter to them that I want to do biomedical engineering. I want to meet Prof. Kaufman. Amazingly, we're two people, myself and Obed. Obed also wanted to do biomedical engineering. But amazingly, Obed got biomedical. I didn't get biomedical. Interestingly, University of Ghana gave me physics, maths, and computer science to do. And I didn't have a choice to sit at home because my friends are already in school, so I had to take it like that and begin learning or begin my journey in the university with physics, maths, computer science. Yeah. But amazingly, that course, actually, it's the reason why I'm here today. My writing career actually took a new leap or a new dimension by doing physics because I met someone at the physics department who changed my life forever. Yeah.
And who is the someone? We're curious.
Yes, so I'll talk about him very soon. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
An amazing individual. Yeah, amazing. So at the physics department, well, you do physics, you do maths, a bit of computer science. I dropped computer science because I felt it didn't make sense. Because how are you learning things happening in the wire? Binary codes complement CPUs and flowcharts, algorithms. Because there's no practicality. I don't know if it has changed now, but during our time, it was more of theory. You're learning, chewing, and going to pour for exams. So I felt it was quite cumbersome. The June, I wanted the practical computer science, not the theoretical one. So I dropped it quickly. Then I was left with physics and mathematics. Mathematics seems cool because there's no practicals in maths. Just do a calculation and go away. However, the practicals lecturer at the University of Ghana, and also one of the greatest writers Africa has ever had. And interestingly, he's also a co-director of the Writers Project of Ghana. For those who know Writers Project.
Writers Project of
Yeah,
Ghana.
Martin. So Martin is the director, and Martin was also a lecturer at Legon. So during that time, they were doing book readings, and one time I went to his office and told him, I want to learn how to write. I was thinking, go and say, hey, go away, go and write physics.
And you submitted your assignments.
Yeah. But interesting, he didn't do that.
He
He
was
said,
warm, eh?
he said, sit down,
Wow.
I'm coming.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know, but then I felt that was it. So he saw that I had a unique passion and zeal for the writing.
Right.
So he gave me the opportunity to train us, took us to a couple of writing sessions, what we call a writer's cafe. In 2017, we practiced, nurtured our writing. So that's how Martin and the Writers Project, became instruments that actually developed our writing until now. And all our colleagues who were part of that writing cohort are all doing amazing stuff, in the world right now. Some are published writers locally and globally. Some are doing interesting and amazing stuff. And interestingly, they are awesome. So basically, that's how doing physics actually changed my life. I met someone who actually became a catalyst to augmenting my writing career. Yeah.
That's interesting. The learning point here is mentors are very important. This is a physics lecturer, and you're going to be talking to him about something that has nothing to do with, physics. You went into a book reading session and you were caught by that. You fell in love with writing. You approached him and said, I want to write. I mean, like you said, the natural thing is like, my friend.
Yeah.
But he held your hand. And sometimes these are some of the interesting, places we get to in our lives where you find out that a hobby, some interest or some passion, rather than what you're being pushed to do, is what is, turning your life and helping you feel at home, helping you build your confidence and making you feel yourself. You know what I mean? So how was that journey? I know you're doing the writing and you practice writing by writing. What do you mean by you practice writing by writing?
So interestingly, there's a lot of things that go into writing.
Yes.
For those who have written a book before, you realize that it's a whole lot. And I discovered that at the University of Ghana, we didn't have, so we had academic writing. Academic writing is more writing in academic setting. And that one, there's a course for it, but there was not a course for creative writing. Actually, there was a course for creative writing, but that was for only the English major students. And even for that, you would there's a number of students that can take that course. They are no more than 20. So you see, there was so much restriction to people who wanted to learn creative writing.
No, so Jacob, you're going out of your schedule, your physics schedule, your math schedule, to go and seek a course by English majors on University of Ghana campus. Wow. That's being driven by your passion then.
So much passion.
That's your seriousness, eh? Awesome.
Amazing. So I had many people who trained me. I think there was a lady who was also doing English. A friend recommended her that, she's an English person, so go and learn from her. So I used to go to her every break time just to go and show her my work. How should I do this? How should I do this? I didn't know.
Showing her pieces of your poems?
Yes.
Allegories? What's it that you're putting together so far? Short stories?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And
on top of your physics
physics
schedule.
writing. And amazingly, so during school time, I was so much passionate about writing. Like, we go for lectures, but then there was not so much. It depends on the kind of lecture and the lecturer who's teaching you. So you go for lectures, school, but then the passion is not for the lecturing. The passion is coming home to write. But then you have to learn because you don't have to fail. So you have to endure and at least excel. Your parents are watching, so you don't have to waste their money. But then what kept us on was the passion for writing. I remember I had a friend, we wanted to start a TV series on campus. So after mathematics lecture, we'll go and write. So script for TV, we'll talk and fight because I want my idea to reign. He also wants the idea to reign. And we always fight. And we'll go and come back again and come and fight. So that was how passionate the writing was like a driving force that was driving our lives. Yeah.
And so some of these scripts you've written, have they been performed? I don't know. Maybe you collaborated with the performing arts students.
Yes, so
I don't know.
I did a couple of works for some few of the School of Performing Arts theater students. I wrote a couple of scripts for them. And there's another guy who wanted to do a dance TV serial, and I wrote a couple of scripts for them. I remember the pilot with the first episode. I wrote it a whole night. I didn't sleep, just to give it to him, and he told me we can't produce it. So I think in school, for me, in my mind, I was a writer. I was already a physics student. I was learning physics, but what I wanted to be known for was to be a writer, and that was what I wanted to do the rest of my life. Yeah.
And that's what you're doing today. We have a few of your books here: The Raven, DNA Origins. There's also The Walking Rainbow.
The Walking Rainbow.
And many more. I know you mentioned a few that you haven't published because the time needs to be right for those ones to come out. So, physics students, nighttime writer, scripts here, stories here, with your professor helping along the way, Writers Cafe. How did all that come together for the first book? And by the way, which is the first book?
So the first book is The Raven. So The Raven came out.
This one?
Yeah. And if you are watching, you need to get a copy of The Raven. The Raven is a classic. You say science fiction, it's The Raven.
When you say science fiction, let me just intersect here and ask, what do you mean by science fiction?
Science fiction. So science, obtaining knowledge through observation and experimentation. Fiction, mimicking reality, but in truth, it's not true.
Fantasy writing?
Fantasy is creating a world that doesn't exist, but you're able to create it so well that people believe it actually exists.
And that's what you've done in The Raven.
Yeah.
Awesome. So please tell us, how did this come about? How was this birth?
So The Raven was birthed during my NSS. So 2018, I was doing NSS at the University of Ghana, Ekuafo, and actually the idea was to leave the country. So I knew I was about to leave Ghana. So during the NSS period,
you're doing a lot of applications.
Yeah, and writing. So I was writing all my writings in 1 year. Then I'll leave Ghana. I'll leave the country. Then in that same period, Black Panther came.
Yeah.
February 2018.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write sci-fi, but I wanted something to build or write on, because I didn't have any sci-fi story by a Ghanaian. I didn't know if there was anyone writing sci-fi, so I was a bit antsy. But after Black Panther came, I said, finally, I have something to stand on to write mine. So Black Panther gave me that confidence and the boldness to write The Raven. So The Raven came out March 2020. I started writing in 2019, and it was one of the classic works that I've ever created. So 14 March 2020, SRC Conference Room, University of Ghana.
And then
The Raven was launched. And after the launch, there was a lockdown. COVID hit.
So if you got the book, you just had to just sit in under your covers and then consume the book. When writers write, they not only share with us their experiences and what they've learned, research, ultimately what they've brought together, some through observation, but they also teach us. And, our conversation is focused on STEM communication, sci-fi as a medium, fantasy storytelling as a medium. What are you teaching us?
Yes, so The Raven is consolidation of so many subjects and topics, from physics, chemistry, biology, oceanography, marine biology, artificial intelligence, computer science, IT, geophysics, engineering. So in The Raven, the focus of The Raven was to look at the concept of wormholes and time travel, the ability for people to exist at different places at a different point in time. Is it possible to go into the future? Is it possible to go into the past? The concept of parallel Earth. There's a theory that there are multiple universes like the one we have here. So there's me in another universe, in this case, the me in the other universe is not a writer, maybe a carpenter. There's Lucy in another universe, and Lucy in another universe maybe a doctor. That concept of parallel Earths. And that's what actually explored. Because it's actually believed that the concept of double ganga, a double ganga is just a twin of yourself in another.
I know.
world.
I've always thought that, and it's just maybe a thought to myself, and then in my own personal quiet time, that I think I've seen someone before, but else in a different force. I just always have that at the back of my mind, that maybe there are 2 of everybody or 3 of everybody, and then I have also actually seen a photo of someone. The person had done this, and when I saw that, I was like, when did I take this photo? Only to scroll further, and that's not me.
Yeah.
So I've always done it, and you're sharing that through creative writing. Are we debunking? Is it a myth? Are we debunking that thought, or it does exist? Or it's just fantasy?
Yes, actually, we are bolstering that thought because it's actually believed that the dreams we have is not actually dreams, but then it's just our other self in another universe experiencing life. But then since our souls are connected, you can actually see into what that person's experiencing. For those who have watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, in the first scene, the other Doctor Strange is killed by the parademon trying to save America Chavez, and he wakes up and realizes that it's a dream. But after some time, what he was experiencing in the dream actually becomes a reality. So these are things that are happening, and the truth is that life is not only on Earth. For me, I don't believe that we are alone. If you have studied deeper into science, you realize that we are not alone. There are things beyond this world, and that's the speculation and the possibility of what science brings onto the table. What if there's someone like you in another world living the same life like you?
I did promise you that today is going to be very, very intriguing. And am I not right? Are you telling us that these are observations? Research proves it? Because that's what scientific work, experimentation is supposed to do for us. People observe, or they think something exists, hypothesize, and then do the tests to find out that, yes, that is true or false through your writing. What has been your observation around this topic?
Yes, so into my writing, I discover this is not fully truth, it's not fully false too. So in the Raven, what happens is that there's now when I was growing up, there was this concept of whirlwind, a circular wind that comes, and if you're not careful, it can carry you away.
Yeah.
So actually, it happens in the book. So in the first part of the story, there's a woman called Diana. She's a meteorologist. She's carried away by a similar wind to a different world called Mahara, or the kingdom of Mahara. Now in Mahara is an ancient, primitive civilization, and they have a covenant with the god that every 6 months the god should bring in an outsider to be sacrificed to the god. So that whirlwind that took Mahara from Earth or Ghana.
Diana from Ghana, as it were.
Ghana. It's actually that wind. So she is seen as an outsider. So that wind, which we see as a whirlwind, is actually a supernatural action by their god to bring in someone for sacrifice.
These things exist.
Yes. So you see the connection. For us, we see it as complex science, but for other people, they see it as tradition.
I mean, again, in your local Ghanaian setting, how does this sit well with your parents? Of course, they are your first audiences. How does all of this sit well with them? If your mom is an African mother,
my mom is. This book is dedicated to my mom. My mom is excited.
Cheers to you, mom.
She is happy. I don't know whether she has read it, but then, she's excited to know all these things because they told us stories. I think that's the foundation of my writing. My parents are very good storytellers, so they inspired us also in that journey.
How does this sit with them? Because they're your first audience, and then to be able to, we're saying if you're a strong communicator, first off, and of course we learned this yesterday from Uncle John, that your immediate environment needs to endorse, so to say, your writing, your storytelling, how you're communicating, to give you the confidence that, yes, you're doing the right thing, and then from there, your audience grows. So I'm just wondering, the acceptance of this and how your audience will grow. Of course, thanks to Wakanda, like you're sharing the Black Panther movie and then the sequel, etc. That's giving you the confidence, the platform to unearth. Yeah. I'll say the fountain of ideas that you have within you to bring out the Raven. But how did your audience grow really? First with your immediate family and then the rest of us.
So, like I said, my dad is an engineer, so scientific family. My mom is more spiritual, so so science and spirituality, that's our origin. My mom don't have any issue about the story. My dad too, he's okay because it explores
science. Sound? Yeah. Are you whatever you're discussing is sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just told them it's just a story. I'm just trying to create a world where we are not really used to, but then it's possible that we can have a world like that somewhere in the universe. It's just speculation and probability, and that's why we call sci-fi speculative fiction, because we are trying to speculate, asking questions like, is it possible for something like this to exist? Yeah. So they understand it that way. That it's just a speculative kind of storytelling. So I'm not trying to say that this is it. I'm also saying that it is not it.
Well, so what I've seen is that you've captured, well, fantasy, so to say, and maybe a bit of some tangibles in this one, which is DNA origins. DNA, yes, we're understanding, we're coming to accept that is what we're all made of. Though we haven't seen it, well, if you go through the learnings, eugenics, as it were, we'll come to appreciate that more. How does this differ from, you see where I'm going in terms of the trajectory, this coming home more to maybe our audiences, because yes, DNA, blood, human beings, a bit of a biology here and there, but then you go straight into mutation.
Yes.
And
yeah,
we're trying to communicate science. This is the observation thus far. People do not really accept all of this, but you're trying to communicate this through wonderful, wonderful storytelling. How have you been able to do this? Yes, you have the book, but the acceptance, and that's where I want us to appreciate.
Yes, so the Raven was mostly delocalized because I explore a man, the wife, and the daughter. So it was more like a nuclear family, a bit estranged. But in DNA, I explore a complete family because I came from an amazing family. My mom and dad and my two sisters. So we have an amazing family, kind of. So now, anytime people hear DNA, all that they are thinking about is DNA test. Maybe there's some issue of, yes, there's some issue of maybe the child doesn't belong to the dad. So I'm going to test, And I was bored with that. I wanted people to know what actually DNA is.
Yeah.
And the DNA is just a metaphor for life, for me. That's the concept here. So I just wanted to open up people to something that is a general talk in the world of science. What is the truth about life here on Earth? How did life begin on Earth? How did life come up on Earth? Obviously, there are different schools of thought of how life came here on Earth.
The theory of everything.
Every field of science have their own story. Christians, we have our story. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Physicists have their Big Bang theory. Biologists have the theory of evolution.
Yeah, by Darwin.
Biochemists have their abiogenesis. Astrophysics also have their panspermia. And other, specified fields of science all have their own origin stories of how life came here on Earth. But then the question I asked, which I didn't answer, was, what is the truth about the origin of life here on Earth?
Yeah.
And for that, you have to answer after you're done reading the book. Yeah.
But you have to be continued in it. You're not already gone through.
Yes.
So
it's a long journey. You get there. So DNA is a classic. So in DNA, a geneticist and the wife, an archaeologist, receive news that something has happened to their kids, And
this is like an everyday call parents can have, from their school. From
you're at work
school,
and they call you and something has happened to your children, school-going children.
Yeah.
Like, what has happened to them? They have been involved in a fight. Fight with who? Then they tell you, fight with guys in the town, the kubolos, and the gangsters. It's like, how does my well-trained children have issues with gangsters? So it's an interesting issue. So it does the first 2 or 3 chapters of DNA.
Right, introducing us into what this fight is about.
Yeah. So Abena and Yao, these are Abena, Yao, and Kwesi are the children of the main characters.
Yeah.
So they close from school, they are going home. But mostly what they do is that they pass by Devon's supermarket to get ice cream. So they pass by Devon's, they're going to get ice cream. But as they are getting ice cream, there are 2 guys who have been looking for Abena because some weeks ago they went to buy something and Abena saw that they have stolen the thing. So Abena took them or Abena reported them and they were disgraced. So they're looking for an opportunity to, if I catch that girl, what I will do to her, I catch him, how I go do him. And God being so good, they got Abena at Devon's. So the 2 guys are like, they got that Charlie will do something to work today. So they see Abena and they're like, there's an opportunity to attack. So they go closer, try to physically abuse her. They even hit her and she unleashes her ice cream and falls to the ground. So Abena tries to defend herself because mostly what she did was not wrong. And in defending herself, she produces acoustic sounds from her mouth. That hits one of the guys and sends him sprawling onto the ground. And after that happens, one of the guys who moves to the younger brother, Yao, and he holds Yao up by the neck, trying to squeeze his neck and break it. And as that continues, interestingly, Yao produces photons from his eyes and shoots the photons into the heart of the guy holding him. And the guy almost leaves him because you can't contain that amount of radiation. You have to quick. So that's actually what happens in the
I'm just dramatizing what you're saying in my mind.
That's what happened in the beginning of the story.
Wow.
And they call the police and now it's like the kids are now in trouble because they've actually assaulted.
And yeah, Juju.
So it's a big issue. Like, how did they do what they did?
Yeah.
And that's where the story begins.
That's where the story begins. Interesting. And then it's in their origin. It's in their DNA.
Their DNA.
Wow.
How the DNA can actually make people become super humans or normal humans. So that's what the story is about.
People are accepting of this. I love stories, so this is something I would read, really.
Yeah.
But do you have any rejections, pushbacks, people, how's the writer experience like? Because you're writing something that's very interesting.
Yes, and not really common or cumbersome. In Ghana, we are used to conventional storytelling, family, witchcraft, suffering, poverty. Like, I'm not condescending on any author. Mostly that's the kind of stories
we have
growing up.
Yeah,
I feel they are great stories. But then looking at the current digital age, AI, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, metaverse, robotics, I feel we need stories that are connected to the contemporary age. Stories that connect to things that we can see in our current ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I feel that's why there's a need for
future.
STEM stories. So, and for young people, they connect so well with such stories because that's what the world currently is made of.
Yeah.
It's made up of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And they're always interacting with something sciencey, science and tech, something engineering, something mathematics.
Yes.
So stories like that, they gravitate easily towards it.
I'm gravitating.
And
I'm gravitating.
We are building so much. We are building a community of, STEM storytelling, and that's what CBA is mostly about. In the future, we'll have, a sea of young people who are so passionate about science storytelling. That will ultimately bring about the birthing of the Afroverse. Yeah.
I'm definitely sure by now people have just shared the link to come and listen to our own sci-fi, writer, and I'm sure there are people anxiously wanting to know, how do I be part of CBA Cafe, if you may?
Great. So actually, Creative Brilliance Afroverse is officially going to be launched next year. However, we are doing a competition. There's a competition ongoing and then the 31st of December. So Google Creative Brilliance Afroverse, or go to LinkedIn and Google Creative Brilliance Afroverse. There's a competition there.
That's ongoing.
If you're interested, you can write
Be
a
a
story
part
and
of
submit.
it, right?
However, I'm also interested in mentoring people in storytelling, science storytelling. How do you write sci-fi?
Yeah.
I really want people who are interested in learning. Okay, so send me a message personally, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on all social medias, and we'll make it our personal responsibility to nurture you in that light, because we need more people to write about science. We need it. It's not a negotiation. It's a need.
It is a need.
For the future that we are hoping to have. Yeah.
How can we play our own part in shaping this need, in shaping the solutions towards this need?
Great. So
you're doing your piece, but you're an advocate as well. So, what arm are you reaching out, or are you sending out to others to say, this is the part I am contributing? How about you?
Great. So first, I want to. The government has done amazing. Free education is awesome, but I also discovered that recently their focus is more on STEM education. I think that's great. I feel if you want to do STEM education, and then also the books that the children read in schools should be STEM focused, because there are supplementary readers that are being read that are not STEM focused. I feel they are great stories, they are great novels, but then if you want to focus your education more on STEM,
concentrate it.
You want to give it a shot where the books that the kids are reading is sciencey or it's STEM or sci-fi. So that's one thing that the government can do for us, because it's my desire that every senior high school student in Ghana will have a copy of The Raven to read. And that can be possible if the government gives us the opportunity to present our book for review and for publication to all senior high school students, because it's a classic story. It's one of the best Ghana has ever had. Secondly, I want to advocate for investment and support for writers. Writers are also part of the creative industry. The creative industry is not only about musicians and
actors,
fashionistas or actors. And truth to be told, the level of creativity in writing transcends all the other artists. I'm not bragging. So we need all the top organizations to also invest into writing, invest into literature.
Invest into
give writers the opportunity.
Literature.
You give musicians, because there's so much we can do. When a musician goes to the studio, he produces a song in 3 minutes. Writers stay for 10 years to produce books. So how do you compare such people?
Food for thought.
Who is more gifted? Is it the musician or the writer?
And even the musician, no offense to anyone, whatever song is written, and so now you have the category Songwriter of the Year and what have you. Somebody is the singer and then the other is the writer and the other is a producer. So all of these components come together to make the songs of the year and the hits that we know.
However, for the writer, he creates everything on his own. You have to do your research, you have to type.
I know.
You have to do your proofreading, you have to do your editing. Sometimes you have to create the cover page yourself. I know a writer friend.
Illustrations, what have you.
She did everything. Amazing writer. She did everything about her book. She published it, everything. One person creating all this, So we need all the support we can get. We need all the partnerships you can give us. But there's so much we can do if you give us the opportunity. Yeah.
How do your students take this? 3 seconds.
Students are excited. Precept boys, are we there? Yeah. So DNA origins. If you don't get DNA, you're getting 20 marks out of your scores. So I told you the other time. So yeah, the Raven has been awesome. Actually I heard that people were fighting over the Raven in Achimota School. It shows how ballable the story is, how excellent the story. If people take the Raven, they don't want to give it back to their friends because they've not seen anything like that. It shows how hungry people are for such stories. Yeah.
Yes. Jay, I like to throw curveballs, and everybody knows I like to throw these very uncomfortable questions, but this is thick.
Yeah.
Nothing comic. Comics are thinner. I'm looking at the rate of consumption. If we want to go faster, it should be light enough for it to travel far. Do you have any plans around that?
Yes, so hopefully next year I want to do an adaptation of The Raven into an animated short movie.
I was going to ask about animation.
So there's this friend of mine, Mills Media, produced Asantua last year.
Okay.
They are premiering The Guardians. So please go and watch The Guardians, 28th December at the Silverbird Cinemas, classic people. So I'm talking to Mills Media to see whether we can do something with The Raven. See The Raven as an animated movie.
Piece, yeah.
A short piece.
Yeah,
I think that was
very lovely.
Steered people's curiosity and passion to maybe read more of it.
Yeah, because again, fast-paced, you're saying writers should be given their flowers because they deserve it. Isn't AI taking your job?
Yes, so that's a very interesting question. You know, I think some couple of months we were talking about that. So I did something with ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, write me a story about love. Then he wrote some story. I was like, Charlie, chat, this one disappointed me. I was expecting, okay, they are good. ChatGPT is good. AI are good. However, we can know that the story that he wrote is not organic or is not natural if you use an AI to write a story. Okay, and that's even the reason more that we need to train more writers, because right now AI can write. However, the organic and the primordial nature of their storytelling will not be the same as if a human being wrote it. Yeah, so AI is good for research. AI is good for doing assignments, but when it comes to storytelling, there's something more than what an AI can offer, and that's someone who has practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and that's what I seek to help any young person out there to develop. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's a good time to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Ow. Let me see.
She's never had a toothache before.
There might be a cavity. Don't you use Pepsodent?
We used to, but I'll try the new one.
Ah, that's why.
But doesn't every toothpaste give cavity protection?
Not really. Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter repairs tiny invisible holes to give 10 times stronger teeth. Will you trust Pepsodent?
Definitely.
Pepsodent, 10 times stronger teeth.
Use Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter.
Akoto! 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 I know you are there. Come on, Akoto! 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 Come see Cabremi. Come see Cabremi.
Hello, Alpha.
Come on, come.
Yeah, the landlady is here today too. She's harassing me this morning. Yes, come and see how I'm sweating.
Well, if I catch you,
Yes, the number I sent you the last time. Yes, use the JuPay app. It will come right now.
Piebra. Ah, so I'm sick of mommy. Give me my money. Me, Jim Sika.
We didn't know. What you JuPay is here. Yes, Canada Bay. Sure, JuPay. JuPay is the best money transfer app that is used to send money directly from the US to Ghana free of charge. They have the best rates in the market and they are very competitive. And until the scanner can abroad soon.
Jim Sika.
Thank you so much. The powerful story continues. The Raven DNA walking rainbow. When we went off, we were asking you about a walking rainbow. It's about love. We will talk about love.
All right.
But before we go into some maybe not too sciencey conversation, I want us to remember that on November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd at the National Theatre, there is the SciTech Fair and the SciTech Innovation Challenge on the theme Exploring Agri-Tech Solutions in Boosting Ghana's Agriculture Industry. I gave you the list. Let me share the list again. These are the schools that have come up, applied, and have made the short list with wonderful, innovative ideas. Agri Memorial Zion SHS. Their application was on the Integrated Farming System. Armed Forces SHTS Technical School. They have the Automated Water Irrigator. Busum STEM Girls SHS have the Vertical Hydroponics System. Fijai has the Auxilium. Ghana National College presented Automated Solar Vertical Farm and Storage System. Obuasi SHTS has the Osikeni Farm, which is a multifunctional electric farm solution. Okwapemam School presented Automated Winnowing Machine. Our Lady of Grace SHS have the Garden X, Presec Legon Farm Monitoring System. St. Thomas Aquinas Greenhouse Solar Powered Aquaponics System. Sunyani SHS have the Multi-Purpose Solar Powered Agri-Tech Device. Ebri Girls have their Agri-Smart. Dabuasi SHS have their Automated Irrigation System. And Tamale SHS have the farming system for the development of seedlings. I will not leave you high and dry. I'll tell you what they stand to win. Jacob, they will be winning 20,000 for the students. That's in the team, together with their team leader. And they win 10,000 in school equipment for their school, in science equipment for their school. The second runner-up will do 15,000, whilst the first runner-up will get 17,000. And they each will have 8,000 and 5,000 worth of science equipment for their schools, respectively. And those who will place from 4th to 10th will not be left alone. They will also get some cool 4,000 and 1,000 CDs worth of science equipment for their school. So it's an exciting time, November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd at the National Theatre. Join us for the SciTech Fair. And of course, we have the exhibition, so maybe you can bring some Reverend books, some DNA books to showcase. And then maybe bring a whirlwind for people to experience. There'll be experiments for us to touch and feel and observe and be a part of. It promises to be fun and games and all things science at the SciTech Innovation Fair and the SciTech Innovation Challenge at the National Theatre. Join us. We continue the story and our conversation, but this time we're talking about love. What has love got to do with STEM communication? You wrote about the walking rainbow. Maybe just to warm us up a bit as we conclude.
Okay, so A Walking Rainbow is not a sci-fi book, FYI.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know whether it qualifies to be part of our conversation. However, a rainbow is, you know,
it's a scientific phenomenon, so to say.
Optics,
So
yeah. When white light is dispersed by a triangular prism,
Yeah.
you know, it produces a rainbow.
Of course.
But then how do you have a rainbow that's walking? So
Maybe if you're moving the prisms.
It's a personification. Yeah. So A Walking Rainbow is just a story about two young people at the university and their friendship and how the friendship evolves into a love
Campus
affair.
love.
Love, because I was at Legon, I saw all kinds of things. People were doing all kinds of things in the name of love, but in the end, they break up and all those things didn't work out. So I was doing a project in psychology, so I turned the project into a story. So the two characters, Nadine and Calix, they meet in a very interesting way.
Within your class.
No, they're in my class. And they form friendship. The friendship evolves into a relationship. And the relationship, it does not work out. Yeah. And they part ways in the end. So that's A Walking Rainbow.
Ooh, just like that.
Yeah, I just created.
I mean, that's the reality. All
that-
truth
I
be told.
just
Sometimes that's the reality.
created what
And
I saw on campus.
is it a warning to, if you come to University of Ghana campus, don't come and do what? Boyfriend girl?
Okay, so mostly according to people, that's where they find the love of their lives, and others, you know, don't. And it was it's an amazing environment to be in, but then mostly you just discover what's good for you and live it.
And you discovered writing.
Yes, I discovered
yourself?
writing. University of Ghana has been very instrumental in my journey as a writer.
Wonderful
The BAM
journey.
Library, eternally grateful for the BAM Library. 24-hour reading room.
Magic happens there.
Yeah.
People swear by it. But I've had my own experience. I got missing in the BAM library. You know, there's a mezzanine.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know you could just, I mean, you have to go through it to go past. I kept going around. I couldn't find the exit. And, you know, the exits are quite, in the corner, quite small. So, well, my experience with BAM, when I look back and then I laugh. Quite eventful and quite memorable there. I know you wanted to be an engineer. Should you have been an engineer? Met Dr. Kaufman, been lectured by her and in the biomedical engineering. That's my school, if you like to know. And would you be writing, really?
Yes.
Do you think you would have been writing?
If I had gotten to do engineering, I would have still been writing, but then I would not have made so much impact, and I wouldn't have been able to go very fast. Because there's so much we have accomplished by the grace of God, you know, from 2018 till now, because of my acquaintance with Dr. Martin Igrelbe. So
That was pivotal.
yeah, I'm sure
The
it's
turnaround movement.
God's engineering that I didn't do
You
engineering.
see, oh yeah, you play on words, so God's engineering.
Yeah,
Nice one.
Yeah.
Nice
So
one.
shout out to Prof. Kaufman and Dr. Martin Igbogbe.
Trailblazers indeed in their own right. You know, I haven't brought my curveball, so you should be looking forward to it.
Yes.
Beyond all that we've heard about you, what you've shared with us through your writing, what is it about you that we do not know that makes you unique?
Hey. Unique Jacob Eosai. So mostly I also like music a lot. So I actually started playing the piano in high school because I actually wanted to be a musician after
Hey, what genre?
after high school. Yeah. because I was listening to Bruno Mars, Alicia Keys, like Charlie writes R&B and soul songs.
Poetic justice, man.
I was a poet already, so writing
Yeah,
songs
yeah.
wouldn't be so easy,
Yeah.
difficult. So I wanted to do music. So I had a friend who was a sound engineer. So I
Awesome.
went to him, Eric, he went to tech, Eric Charlie. So I write and he will produce the song, beat, we are working.
And you are singing.
Then it got to a time like, Charlie, we are not getting money, let's stop this thing.
Give us a feel. Give us a feel of maybe one of those songs that you.
Unfortunately, viewers, I can't sing on national television because it will cause a lot of earthquake.
Hey. And then it'll be another phenomenon that you
maybe
will write about.
But truthfully, I have a lot of songs that I've written. A couple of, maybe I'm thinking about doing an album and bringing them out, hopefully, in the future. Yeah, so I started playing the piano, but then what actually happened is that one day we came back from church and the piano was stolen, and that's how I ended. I stopped playing the piano. But then I just want to say, young people out there, like, learn every possible skills you can. Learn how to play an instrument. I wish, one of my regrets is that I wasn't able to complete playing the piano. I can do a bit of drums, a bit of trumpet, but then the keyboard would have helped me a lot. So learn how to play at least one instrument. When you go to church, learn to play something. It will help you a lot in the future.
You make things seem very easy. Write love songs, write stories, sci-fi. And of course, articles and all of these will just be like a walk through the park. But which is difficult? Your physics lecturing or the writing of the stories?
Yeah, so I think some few weeks ago, I just finished writing. So I'm working on a spoken word album called Reaching for the Stars. So I just finished writing that
Piece.
and I was just looking at it, I was like, oh, Jacob. So the only challenge is how to get into the writing mood.
This, they have this thing they say writer's block and that kind of thing. How does that? How do you make that? How do we connect with that? For those of us who are not writers and don't know what that means.
Yeah, writing is an environment, or it's an emotion that encapsulates the person who's trying to create. It's a creative energy. That's what enables us to write. When you don't have that creative energy, it's very difficult to create anything. So what happens with the writer's block is that there's not enough of that creative energy for a particular point in time. So the passion and the zeal to write is no more there. And you have to do all kinds of things to get inspiration. Because inspiration is what transmits into the creative energy.
So what do you get to get? What do you do to get inspired, if we may?
For a sci-fi writer, how I channel my energy is mostly watching series. The Flash is down, DNA, Arrow, The Flash. So mostly I watch sci-fi movies too.
Right.
That's why I'm able to
draw energy from,
to write.
And then you'll be able to give off.
Marvel, amazing stories, and most sci-fi, because you get to learn a lot watching. Then you are transported into a world, and mostly what happens is that your mind connects, and you want to create something similar.
Yeah.
When you experience something you have never experienced before, as they call it, euphoria. Yeah.
An African parent, where is the place of ethics and morals in this? Because they say, hey, mommy, in local parlance, where they, like I said earlier on, juju, overconfidence, no regard for authority, so to say, because you think you have some higher power. But this is the African setting. Respect, authority, rule of law, ethics. You know, how does all of that play?
Great. So I feel they're very important and very instrumental. I think the African culture is one of the most interesting ones I've really experienced. My parents taught us they trained us to be humble, to be kind, to be respectful. And I think that's something that helped us in our life as a young person. But then, mostly when you look at science fiction, it's trying to defy those narratives.
Exactly.
And in a more interesting way, we are not actually trying to defy those things because you're talking about spaceship, you're talking about AI, you're talking about robots, cyborgs. And that feels like they are too paranormal or extraterrestrial, alien.
Yeah.
Because this is not our traditional
yeah.
way of living. But the truth of the matter is that that's what the future is. That's the future.
Should embrace it.
Yeah. So we can still have our cultures ingrained into this whole technological advancement and this whole fantastic creations and inventions. So we can still be calm, humble, and have our ethics and have our primordial traditional cultures. But then the truth of the matter is that the future is STEM. And the only thing we can do about it is to train our children and prepare for it. AI has come to stay, and it's not going away. It's not going away.
I have another punch from the mother and some of us.
Yeah.
Isn't this all totally? You know, you have that, like, if your child is, and you find that people whose children like to write, you know, they write stories, they can form stories, and I can see, I'll prefer way or chantro. Isn't that, you know, in the local parlance, what you'll get?
Yeah.
How, maybe you had that. How did you navigate that? Because your child is brilliant for putting such a wonderful, fantastical story together. But
Yeah.
if they're
So
on borderline,
it's a big challenge.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, like, interestingly, the more you write, like, with my experience as a writer, I realized it's actually influencing my personal life because it's like I have very creative responses to people, and some of them are not creativity, some are light sometimes. Because I get to realize it does become a default lifestyle because of your life of creating, telling lies, which is the form of fiction, it's reflecting your daily life with people. So that's where the foundation of training comes in. If you had a good foundation, you would have to know where to draw the line. Say that no, you can't do this. At this point, you have to be truthful. You have to exalt the truth and not feel like you're creating something. So if you have good foundation, if you have a good support system as a family, and they train you well, there are points where you'll be able to know the disparity between telling the truth and telling a lie. Even though professionally you are known as a liar. But then when it comes to certain situations, you have to uphold truth. Yeah.
Yeah. So to conclude, this is the future.
Yes, creative brilliance afterwards is the future. You know,
We
next
have
year.
to own our narrative.
Yeah, we have to.
And one of the ways you're advocating that is you're happy to take anybody under your wing. They
Yes.
should reach out to you.
Yes.
Look out for the challenge that you've put out on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Creative Brilliance
Brilliance
Afroverse. And then they can get the training
Yeah.
to become professional liars.
Yeah. So I was not trained by anyone to do science fiction. I learned to write science fiction. And by the grace of God, I can model that model for other people who want to apply the same path. Yeah.
This involves a lot of research. You
Yeah.
should open yourself up to learning.
Yes. For science fiction, you need to know. Okay, painfully, the truth is, if you want to be a sci-fi writer, you need to be quite clairvoyant or savvy. Savvy is just a word for intelligent, because it's mostly a lot of knowledge. So you need to you have to be ready to learn and read.
Be a walking AI.
Yeah.
That's your nickname, eh?
That's what the students call me.
Say AI.
AI. Yeah, and I think it's just something that keeps me on my toes. So you need to know everything. Because in a class of 50 students, after a lecture, everyone has a question, and you have to answer everybody. So if you're not learning, that's the end for you.
You cannot be that top lecturer or that top writer that you have to be. Wow. Then writers do have a double job.
Yeah.
And not
It's a
just
lot of
any
work.
kind of double job, but if you are indeed a prolific writer such as Jacob Abanosai, who has written The Raven, DNA Origins, The Walking Rainbow, and more to come. And more to come. We're looking forward to fantastic work from you. Please do come around, speak to our team, and come and exhibit at the SciTech
Fair, I'll be
Fair,
there.
21st, 22nd, 23rd of November at the National Theatre. Please come and experience this. I've run through the book and already I'm drawn in by the stories. You will learn, apart from the sci-fi and the fantasy that will put a smile on your face, you will definitely learn because Jacob has done a thorough research and has brought all of this tastefully together for young readers, old readers, readers in general. He shared with us that practice definitely will bring you thus far and even do greater than him. You need to know, so you give yourself to learning. You need to know because if you are asked, what do you say? Even putting this together, you definitely need to be teaching people through your work. And so please, let's not leave things to chance. It's not just forming things, but, giving yourself to deep learning, giving yourself to knowledge so that you can put it together tastefully for the rest of us to enjoy. This is what time will afford us today. Proudly brought to you by Primetime Limited with support of Pepsodent, Bell Beverages, YFM, GTP, and Jupe Money Transfer. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.